Have you ever thought about how some of the most, well, overlooked markets are actually fueling really significant economic stories?
Yeah, not the big flashy headlines, but the steady stuff happening, almost behind the scenes.
Exactly. And that's just the kind of surprising story we're digging into today. We're doing a deep dive into the global composite door and window market.
Sounds niche, maybe.
It might sound specific, yeah, but it's actually a fantastic window, pardon the fun, into global development, construction trends, and some really interesting regional dynamics.
Right.
And we're basing this on some detailed projections from cognitive market research. So let's get the big picture first.
Sure. Well, it's easy to maybe dismiss a market like this, but the scale is quite striking straight away. Back in 2021, the global sales revenue topped $1.1 billion.
Wow. $1,117.59 million, to be
Yeah.
exact. That's substantial, as you say, for something so specialized.
It really is.
And it's not just sitting still, is it? It's actually accelerating. Cognitive market research sees this growing to over $1.45 billion, $455.76 million by 2025, and then really picking up steam. Projected to reach almost $2.5 billion, $470.02 million by 2033.
That's right. And that works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of around 6.832%. Pretty healthy growth.
Okay, 6.8%. Before we dive into where this growth is happening, maybe just a quick primer. What exactly are we talking about with composite doors and windows?
Good question. So typically, these are products made by combining different materials. Think PVC, wood, glass fiber, reinforced plastics, that sort of thing.
Right.
The key is their layered construction. It makes them incredibly durable, really good for energy efficiency, and they can look surprisingly good too, very versatile aesthetically.
Right, so less warping, better insulation.
Exactly. Compared to traditional wood or even single material options, they just perform better in many ways. That's a big driver for their adoption, especially in new builds and increasingly in renovations too.
That makes sense. And it certainly makes those growth numbers even more interesting. Because if a market's nearly doubling in about a decade, you really have to ask, okay, where is this boom concentrated?
Well, if you look globally, the Asia-Pacific region is the clear powerhouse right now, absolutely dominating.
Okay.
In 2021, their revenue was already over $635 million, $635.705 million. That's projected to climb near $818 million, $818.574 million by 2025.
Huge share.
And then looking out to 2033, it's expected to hit an impressive $1.37 billion. Dirtan's at $377.78 million. That's growing at a very strong 6.725% CAGR for the whole region.
Wow. So much of that must be driven by urbanization and just massive infrastructure projects, right?
Precisely. And drilling down within Asia-Pacific, China is definitely leading that charge.
Yeah, I was expecting that.
They clocked in at nearly $159 million, $158.926 million in 2021. That's set to rise past $204 million, 204.057%.
And Japan's a significant player too, isn't it?
Absolutely, not far behind. Japan contributed over $146 million, $146.217 million in 2021, progressing to over $184 million, $184.657 million in 2025, and the forecast for 2033 is close to $296 million. $295.917 million. Their CAGR is a bit lower, 6.072%, but still very substantial.
It really paints a picture of these, established economies still heavily investing in these durable, energy-efficient materials.
Exactly, but maybe the more dynamic story within the region is where the truly explosive growth is happening. Places like India and South Korea.
Right, the high-growth spots.
Yeah. India is projected to leap from about $82.6 million, $82.642 million in 2021 to over $194 million, $194.267 million in 2033. That's an impressive 7.319% CAGR.
That must reflect that rapid urbanization, the growing middle class demanding, better quality housing.
That's exactly it. And South Korea, similarly, is projected to go from $46 million, 46.1557%, likely driven by modern architecture, maybe a stronger regulatory push for energy efficiency, too.
It's fascinating. And it's not just those giants, right? The report mentions robust trends elsewhere.
That's right. Australia, Taiwan, the broader Southeast Asia region, they're all showing strong trends. Singapore, for example, projected to hit over $114 million, $114.24 million by 2033, growing at about 6.366%.
So it really underscores this widespread regional shift towards more advanced building materials. Okay, let's pivot. Let's cross over to Europe. How does the old continent, with its more mature infrastructure, stack up?
Europe shows really steady, consistent growth. The market there was over $183 million, $183.344 million back in 2021.
Okay.
It's forecast to increase to around $234 million, $234.211 million by 2025, and then hit over $391.629 million by 2033. That's a healthy 6.637% of CAGR overall for Europe.
So still significant investment happening there, both residential and commercial, I imagine.
Definitely. And within Europe, you see clear contributions from the major economies. The UK, for instance, projected to grow from almost $35.7 million, $35.677 million in 2021 to over $85 million, $85.334 million by 2033. That's actually a strong KGR for Europe, 7.46%.
Okay, interesting. And Germany?
Germany, starting from over $26 million, $26.143 million, is expected to reach more than $58 million, $58.143 million by 2033. Also a good KGR, nearly 7%, 6.917%. France, a bit smaller scale, from roughly $15.5 million, $15.483 million, up to over $31.062 million, with a 6.115% CAGR.
And Italy,
quite similar. About $12.6 million, $12.639 million, growing to almost $25 million, $24.730 million in 2021, projected to reach nearly $50 million, $49.526 million by 2033. The KGR there is a little lower, 5.748%.
Still steady growth across the board.
It is. But what's quite interesting in Europe, I think, is how some smaller nations are also making, significant moves.
Oh, yeah. Like who?
Well, take Luxembourg. It was at $18.327 million in 2021. Projected to nearly double to over $37.8 million, $37.804 million by 2033. That's a 6.414% CAGR. Might reflect, high-value construction, maybe luxury developments or specialized commercial projects.
That makes sense for Luxembourg.
And the rest of Europe category collectively is also showing pretty strong growth, jumping from $14.1 million, $14.109 million in 2021 to almost $32.5 million, $32.488 million by 2033. That's a 7.343% CAGR.
So that suggests wider adoption beyond just the big economies. It's a great point about those, niche but still potent markets.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. North America, what's the picture there?
North America's market generated over $129 million, $129.208 million in 2021.
Right.
It's expected to expand to nearly $166 million, $165.847 million in 2025, and then reach over $275 million, $275.768 million by 2033. So the CAGR there is about 6.563%.
Consistent demand then. Probably a mix of new builds and that big trend of energy-efficient home renovations, right?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And as you'd probably guess, the U.S. leads the way there. Projected to go from roughly $106 million, $105.95 million in 2021 to over $214 million, $214.368 million in 2033. That's a 6.178% CAGR.
Okay. And Canada?
Canada's also seeing healthy growth, moving from almost $16.8 million, $16.797 million in 2021 up to over $40.6 million by 2033. Their CAGR is actually a bit higher, 7.436%.
Interesting. Both showing the continued value placed on durability, efficiency.
Yes, but if we're talking about real market dynamism in North America, Mexico really stands out.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, its market is showing really impressive accelerating growth. It started smaller, $6.46 million in 2021.
Right.
But it's projected to hit over $10.27 million in 2025, and then double again to nearly $20.799 million by 2033.
Wow.
That gives it an impressive 9.221% CAGR, really high. Suggests significant new construction, maybe that growing middle class investing in better quality homes.
That 9.2% is definitely an eye-catcher. Speaking of surprising acceleration, the Middle East is another region mentioned with a remarkable expansion.
Absolutely. The market there was almost $56 million, $55.88 million in 2021.
Okay.
And it's projected to more than double, reaching nearly $135 million, $134.826 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 7.558%. Really substantial growth.
Huge growth in just over a decade.
Indeed. And Saudi Arabia is certainly leading that expansion. They moved from just over $20.8 million $20.822 million in 2021
Right.
to a projected $52.3 million, $52.296 million in 2033. That's a robust 7.942% CAGR.
Nearly 8%. Wow.
And you see similar high growth in places like Qatar,
That's
almost
right.
tripling its market from around $3.9 million, $3.912 million in 2021 to nearly $9.66 million, $9.565 million by 2033. It's a 7.692% CAGR.
It's a clear sign of those massive construction projects and economic diversification efforts we hear about.
Exactly. It feeds directly into those national visions.
Now, if you're looking for the really high growth emerging potential, you absolutely have to look at Africa.
Oh, definitely. Africa recorded $43 million, $43.05 million in 2021.
Yeah, starting smaller,
But expected to nearly quadruple. So over $145 million, $145.157 million by 2033. That shows a very strong CGR of 8.89%.
That's incredibly promising. Points to a huge wave of, well, future development.
And what's particularly fascinating within Africa is Nigeria's momentum. Really exceptional.
How so?
It's projected to rise from about $11.2 million, $11.193 million in 2021 to nearly $39.944 million in 2033. That marks the highest KGR in the entire study, I believe, at over 9.4%, 9.444%.
Wow, highest overall. And South Africa.
South Africa also showing significant growth from $10.2 million, $10.233 million in 2021, projected to over $36 million, $36.349 million to 2033.
Also a very high CDR, 9.231%.
Okay, and finally, let's wrap up our world tour in South America.
Right. South America's market was just over $70 million.
Okay.
$70.408 million in 2021.
And it's set to reach almost $145 million, $144.864 million in 2033. That's a CGR of 6.366%, so steady growth overall.
Steady, but maybe a bit more varied than some other regions.
It seems so, yes. Brazil, for example, stood at almost $15.5 million, $15.49 million in 2021, growing to over $32.42 million by 2033, which is a 6.532% CAGR. Argentina recorded just over $28 million, $28.028 million in 2021, increasing to nearly $59 million, $58.819 million by 2033. Very similar CGR, 6.578%.
Okay.
But interestingly, the report notes that the rest of South America category lagged a bit. Their collective CGR was lower, around 4.045%, so maybe more localized growth patterns there.
Interesting variation. Okay, so we've toured the globe. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, after that pretty comprehensive look, the core insight is, I think, undeniably clear. This global composite door and window market, it's on a really robust, steady growth path everywhere.
Yeah, it's not just one or two hotspots.
No, it's a truly global trend, driven by those practical benefits we talked about, durability, energy efficiency.
Exactly. And what really stands out to me is how those emerging economies, Mexico, India, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, are genuinely driving some of the fastest expansion.
Mm-hmm.
It shows not just the overall market getting bigger, but this significant geographical diversification.
Mm-hmm.
It really highlights where the world is, building and investing for the future.
Absolutely. And all this fantastic data, just to remind everyone, comes from that cognitive market research report.
It gives us so much to think about. I mean, what do these numbers really reveal to you, the listener, about the bigger picture? Trends in construction, urban development, even material science globally.
Yeah, are we seeing a kind of universal shift towards more sustainable or at least more durable building practices? It feels like it.
It's just fascinating how a deep dive into something seemingly mundane like doors and windows can actually reveal so much about global economic momentum.
It really can.
It illustrates how growth isn't just about, the headline industries or the tech giants we always hear about. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other everyday products are having this kind of silent exponential boom right under our noses? And what can they tell us about where the world is heading?